welcome back, and thank you for staying with ENCA. Now, the Kasi economy is being hailed as a key driver for economic revival, and it will be in the spotlight as stakeholders meet in Orlando. Service providers are hoping to finalize plans for the Africa Trade Week. Issues affecting the economy or the township economy will dominate those discussions. Let's discuss this further now with Evan Schiff. He's from DMG Events. Thank you so much for coming through to studio, Evan, and speaking to us about this quite a very important topic, Kasi economy, etc. Something that is not taken very seriously, but in fact would probably even assist us with the with our unemployment rate.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, Maseko. Yes, Kasi economy is incredibly important. If you look at it, about 50 to 60% of people live in townships, and by any measure, that's hundreds of billions of rands worth of business and transactions that are happening daily in food, in trade, for fast-moving consumer goods. So it's very important to see how those goods are sourced, how they're supplied, and what those township value chains actually are. And that's what we hope to discover by having the session in Soweto tomorrow.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about the actual event taking place tomorrow. Who are we expecting to be there? Do we expect also, for instance, government, whether it's on a municipal or provincial or national level, to be there to listen to the plights, at least, of those who own businesses in townships? So
tomorrow is our Township Economy Advisory Board. Okay. We run Africa Trade Week. That consists of 3 different events: Africa's Big 7, Cytex, as well as the Hotel and Hospitality Show. And we look at food, general trade, and hospitality. And these are key sectors for the township economy. So what we've done is we've gathered 50 entrepreneurs together tomorrow, all representing either hospitality, hair care, personal care, restaurant owners we've got, as well as food retail, so both independent stores as well as group buyers, to actually listen and understand how do these businesses secure their goods, what are some of the issues they're facing, are they being supported enough through government, are they being supported enough through access to finance, through access to money, what are the needs of this sector and of these entrepreneurs, and how can we address them at the big show that happens next year in May and then in June. The more that we can understand from these people, from the people that are there on the ground, active every single day, the better we'll be able to actually build our programs, the better we will be able to be that conduit also to our governmental partners to say these are the needs of this particular sector, and this is how you can address them, and then the better platform that we can build for them at the show next year to enable business to be done, contacts to be made, and markets actually to be accessed. And that's what it's all about, is providing opportunities for market access, providing opportunities to bring people together to actually do business, and that will help both manufacturers in the township to secure markets outside of the township and grow their businesses, as well as help those entrepreneurs that are selling in the township. How can they access cheaper goods at a better value? And if they can access those cheaper goods and pass those cheaper prices along to the consumers, then yes, that will help with food inflation, that will help with general inflation as well, considering the size of the Kasi economy.
All right, talking about support and, you know, hearing them out in terms of the support that they need. South Africa is considered a violent country, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding despondent. We're considered one of the most violent countries, and sometimes when you think about going to a Kasi, people already have this perception about it. Even people who are from there, people that I've lived with, I'm from Soweto, by the way, you find people who don't want to come back to the hood. They come back if there's a family funeral or a friend has passed away, etc. But they don't believe in an economy there because they feel that there's no safety in those kinds of neighborhoods. Will you be discussing that? Do you have like a relationship with police as stakeholders?
No, we don't deal with the social issues, unfortunately, and it's not that. We are a trade show, a business-to-business trade show. So what we want to understand is how can a thriving economy help with those sorts of social issues? Because if there are opportunities, and if there are opportunities for work on your doorstep, why wouldn't you choose that route instead of going, down another route, instead of going into criminality? I think there's a well-known correlation between those two. Is if you have access to employment, and more importantly, if you have access to a future, you know, if you believe that tomorrow is going to be better than today, then you're going to be more focused on how do I access that future, how do I access that tomorrow. And the best way to do that is to provide economic opportunities for people in the area in which they operate. And if you can have access to that, and if we can get the township economies going, then that should help with all of those other social issues, because more money means that you can have more safety, you can have more street lights, you can have more people that are gainfully employed, and then will not be drawn into other areas. So that's what we're about, and what we're trying to look at is how to get these economies going and how to get these economies thriving, and they are. They absolutely are. But one of the problems is those links between the formal economy and the informal economy. So it's issues such as how can you access finance if you don't have the proper business documentation in place? How can you access finance if you don't have audited books that go back 1, 2, 3, 4 years? You know, what commercial bank is going to then take a chance on you and give you credit or extend you a loan? But there are lots of companies now that have looked at this and are actually addressing some of these concerns. So there is a natural search for growth in the formal economy. And where can you grow to but underserved populations? And underserved populations are definitely what you find in the township. So you'll see profusion of shopping malls that are coming up, especially in places like Soweto. Even Pick n Pay has got 17 stores in Soweto, if I understand correctly. So that formal economy is definitely coming. But now, how do you make sure that the local traders and independent traders aren't muscled out and aren't left behind? And that's where we want to come in. So we want to meet with these guys, with those independent traders. How can they collectively come and buy and get purchasing power and access, you know, the better prices? What links need to happen between, yes, even importers or exporters from other countries that want to access these markets, if they can access better priced, better value goods, then why shouldn't they have that opportunity to sell cheaper? And that shouldn't just be reserved for the large retail chains. So that's what we hope to do by bringing people together, by learning and talking, and then by providing them with a platform, as we will do at a show with thousands of people next year.
It's a very clever way of, you know, letting them research by talking. You know, and finding out from each other, what did you do when this happened? What do I do? Where do I go? All right, so I do understand, you know, why you have this type of event. I'm going to ask you a funny question, not really funny, but a funny question. What are you going to do if they come to you and say load shedding is the bane of our existence?
They very well might say load shedding is the bane of our existence. So that is one thing to consider is, as you say, talking and best practice. How do you address load shedding? You know, what sorts of things can you do?
Especially in you know, townships such as Soweto, where sometimes we go through, you and I go through 2 hours of no power, and then I'll speak to my aunt in Soweto and she'll tell me we haven't had electricity for the 36 hours. Yeah,
I know. It really is one of those foundational issues that has to be addressed higher up the chain, if I could put it that way. Yes, there are renewable energies available, and a lot of retail stores are installing renewable and solar and battery on their stores that can help them through the load shedding, but those are quite expensive. So how do you access that? And also, if your store is not a brick and mortar that you have a multi-year lease on, would you necessarily invest 100,000 Rand in a solar system? You might not. So one of the things to explore is to understand, first of all, how much of a problem is it for them?
And
what tactics are they using? What tactics are they using to deal with it currently? And then if there is a need for that, we can go and secure suppliers of solar goods and bring them to the show as well. And we can say to them, look, there is a market here for you. We've done the market research now. People want to do this. They're ready to spend, and then they can come to the show as well. And that way you can find not just, you know, what you're going to stock your shelves with, but I suppose also that solar power system that's going to help you operate your business.
And to those who are listening at home and they don't have a business yet, but they have an idea, are they welcome?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we look at doing is we've got a lot of sellers there. So a lot of manufacturers of goods, both from South Africa and internationally, because we are an international marketplace. We are part of the international economy. And there's a lot of opportunities available for people to come through to find goods that they might want to then on-sell. So if that's something that's interesting to you, if there is trade, and that can be things like personal care, hair products.
Sometimes it's networking.
Sometimes it's networking as well. You never know what opportunities might come. So yes, it's definitely something that I would recommend people looking at and looking into, and you never know who you might meet just around that next corner.
All right, quickly before I let you go, just give the viewers the exact details. What time tomorrow? Orlando, exactly where? Is it Vilakazi Street?
It is on Vilakazi Street. It is a closed discussion, unfortunately. So, we've invited specific business people to that. We are working with the Township Economy Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Becky Twala, who's really great in that sector. So, I would recommend speaking to him, and then look out for Africa Trade Week, as well as africasbig7.com. And they can get all the information for the event next year.
All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us here on ENCA. And, that is quite a good idea in terms of you being able to network. Maybe you'll find out from other business owners exactly what they did to the challenges that you might be facing. Let's try and see if we can make unemployment rates in South Africa better. That was Evan Schiff, the Portfolio Director of Food, Trade and Hospitality at DMG Events. All right, on to politics now. President Cyril Ramaphosa has delivered his submission to the panel probing matters